Good morning, children. Welcome back to English class. Now, we are on page 142, that is 356th line. Okay, and okay, from that page itself, let me ask a question. Okay, so Portia says, "Thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture to be taken at thy peril." Okay, so and she also says that thou shalt have justice. Okay, and what does she mean by this? Thou shalt have justice. Okay, so Portia tells Shylock that he will get justice as he pleads so insistently for it. But it may be that the justice will be stricter than he will wish for. Okay. Now, except Shylock, everybody is happy that the case has turned. Okay, and now we have come across Portia finding out loopholes to rescue Antonio. Okay, and first it was that she told or she gave the right to Shylock to take a pound of flesh, but she gave or gives a warning. What was that? Okay, Shylock can take 1 pound of flesh, and that is not less or not more, neither less nor more, even by a 1/20th scruple. Okay, so scruple means a small grain that if it is divided into 20 and that 1/20th part, you know how small it is, very little. Even the okay, that flesh should not be more or less by this small scruple. And then if it is more or less, or if the beam of the scale incline to one side, okay, he will face the consequence. And the next loophole that she finds was that, okay, uh, not a drop of blood should be shed. He can, that is, Shylock can take a pound of flesh, but he should not shed even a drop of blood. Now, Shylock finds that it is impossible for him to take the forfeiture. So finally, he says that he will, or he just requests for the principal amount. Okay, but okay, at this time, Bassanio comes forward with the money, but Portia said it cannot be given because he refused the money in the open court. That is, he refused the money publicly, so it cannot be given. He will have only the justice, that is, he can take the forfeiture. And now Shylock, uh, okay, says that, okay, what does he say? Why then the devil give him good of it. I'll stay, no longer question. So finally he says that let the devil take him. I don't want to stay here further. That means he realized that it is impossible for him to take the flesh. And okay, so he wants to go away. And Portia now tells, now see the textbook, all of you. Tarry, Jew, tarry, wait, Jew, Shylock, you wait. The law hath yet another hold on you. It is enacted in the laws of Venice. So Portia asked Shylock to wait because the the law has a claim on him, and it is laid down in the laws of Venice. What is that? If it be proved against an alien that by direct or indirect attempts he seek the life of any citizen, the party against the which he doth contrive shall seize one half his goods. Okay, so this will be the consequence. See, she tells that if a alien is proved, alien means here is a foreigner, not he is not a Venetian. Okay, so if a foreigner is proved to plot against the citizen of Venice directly or indirectly, he seek the life of any citizen. What is the punishment or what is the result? The party against which he doth contrive. Okay, the party, that means the person against whom he has plotted against, doth contrive here means he had contrived, that is plotted against, shall seize one half his goods. Okay, so that person have the right to take half of his goods. Okay, so here you know that Shylock has plotted or tried directly and indirectly try to take the life of Antonio. So Antonio has the right to take half of Shylock's goods. And then the other half comes to the privy coffer of the state. And what happens to the other half of his wealth? The other half of his wealth will come to the privy coffer that of the state. That is, it will go to the treasury of the state. And the offender's life lies in the mercy of the Duke only. And then the offender's life. Who is the offender? The offender is surely Shylock, and his life is at the mercy of the Duke only against all other boys, in which predicament I say thou standest. Okay, so the life of the offender, okay, the life of the offender lies at the mercy of the Duke only. That means against all other voice. That means nobody has the right to tell anything to support him. Okay, so only the Duke can do something. So it, okay, his life is at the mercy of the Duke. Okay, and no other person, no man in Venice can intervene in that. Okay, and then in which predicament I say thou standest. For it appears by manifest proceeding that directly and indirectly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant. Okay, and now Portia tells Shylock that Shylock has directly or it is proved. Okay, so uh, it is proved that he has, okay, directly or okay, and indirectly, in that directly and indirectly, he has contrived against the life of the defendant. Who is the defendant here? The defendant here is Antonio. Okay, so he is in the charge. Okay, in which predicament? Okay, so he is in a difficult situation now. Who is in the difficult situation? Okay, Shiloh, because he is charged of contriving against the defendant. So there is all proof. There are proofs that he has directly or uh, indirectly contrived against the very life of the defendant. And thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. Okay, so Osha tells that it is clear or it is evident that he had sought the life of Antonio directly or indirectly, and so he is liable to undergo what is said before. Okay, the punishment that had been said by Portia before. Okay, so that thou has incurred the danger formerly means said before, by me rehearsed. That means by me, that is what Portia has told before. Down therefore and beg mercy of the Duke. So Portia now orders Shylock to kneel down. Okay, down therefore. So you just kneel down before the Duke and beg mercy. Okay, beg for mercy. Down therefore and beg mercy of the Duke. Gratian. Beg that thou mayst have leave to hang thyself, and yet thy wealth being forfeit to the state, thou hast not left the value of a coat. Therefore, thou must be hanged at the state's charge. Okay. So Gratiano now interferes. He says that he should be that means when Portia tells that Shylock can beg mercy to the Duke, Gratiano intervenes and said, yes, he has to be allowed to hang himself. Okay, Shylock has to be allowed to hang himself. And yet, you know what? Since he doesn't have any wealth now, he does not possess any wealth, because you know that it will be forfeited to the state, or the state will forcefully take his wealth as a punishment. So thou hast not left the value of a coat. So he does not have money to buy even a robe, or he cannot afford to buy even a robe. That's what Gratiano tells. Thou hast not left the value of a coat. Gratiano does not have the money to buy even a robe. Sorry, Shylock does not have the money to buy even a robe. Therefore, thou must be hanged at the state's charge. So Gratiano says that he must be, or Shylock must be, hanged at the state's charge. That is, at the expense of the state. Since Shylock does not have the money to buy even a robe, the state should take the expense. Duke. That thou shalt see the difference of our spirits. I pardon thee thy life before thou ask it. Okay, so the Duke says, thou shalt that thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. So even before Shylock asks for mercy, Duke says that, okay, in order to show or in order to see the difference of the Jews and the Christians. That's what the Duke says. So Duke wants Shylock to know the difference between the Christian and the Jew, or the difference of their disposition. Okay, so that he says that thou shalt see the difference of our spirits. That means the character of our spirits. I pardon thee. So in order to see the difference, Shylock, okay, what does Duke do? He says that he has pardoned him, he has forgiven him, or he has pardoned him even before Shylock asked for it. If Shylock did not ask for mercy, before that, Duke has granted him the mercy. Okay. Why does he do that? Why does the Duke do that? Duke says that Shylock should learn the difference of the character of or the nature of the Christian and the Jew. Okay. For half thy wealth it is Antonius. So half of his wealth will go to Antonio. The other half comes to the general state, which humbleness may drive into a fine, unto a fine. So he says the other half will go to the state, or the state will seize the other half of his wealth, which humbleness may drive into a fine. And it see or it he may be let off with a fine if he humbly beg for mercy. Okay, so if Shylock becomes humble and begs for mercy, that the other half will not be taken from him, only a fine will be imposed on him. This is what Duke makes clear to Shylock. Portia, I for the state, not for Antonio. So here, see, Portia reminds that the Duke has the power to allow Shylock to keep the state's share, but not Antonio's. Okay, that is, Antonio already has got the right to take half of his property, and only the other half, okay, the state can uh, give back to Shylock if he becomes humble and begs for mercy. Shylock, nay, take my life and all. Pardon not that. Okay. So now, what is Shylock's reply? Nay, take my life and all. Pardon not that. You take my house when you do take the prop that doth sustain my house. You take my life when you do take the means where I live. Okay, so Shylock replies that no, no, you may take as well my life and all. Pardon not that. So he says that he, okay, they can take his life also. Okay, so or they should not, or he does not, or he does not want to restore it for him. Okay, and see what he says: you take my house when you take the prop. Okay, prop means pillars, the pillars support the house. So when the pillars are pulled down, naturally the house is destroyed. The house cannot stand without the pillars. So that's what he says. When you take the pillars, you have taken the house. That means destroyed the house. You take my house when you pull away the pillars. Okay, the pillars that sustain my house. So the pillars are the ones that support the house. You take my life when you do take the means whereby I live. So he says that, see, you are taking my life when you take the means where I live. Where I live, the means where I live means livelihood. Okay, so this whole wealth is taken or will be seized from him. So that means his livelihood is taken from him. That means his life is taken. According to Shylock, okay, his life is taken when they take all his wealth. Portia, what mercy can you render him, Antonio? So Portia turns to Antonio and asks Antonio, because he is the defendant. Okay, so he asks, A, for the state, what mercy can you render him, Antonio? So she asks Antonio to suggest, okay, what kind of mercy can be given to Shiloh. Gratian, a halter, greatest, nothing else. For God's sake. So Gratian intervenes and says that, okay, he'll be given a halter, a rope, okay, a rope, that is how? A rope greatest, okay, a halter greatest, that means a rope free of charge. That means he should be given a rope free, nothing else. For God's sake, nothing should be given to him. This is what Gratiano tells Antonio. So please, my lord, the duke and all the court, to quit the fine for one half of his goods. I am content. So he will let me have the other half in use to render it upon his death unto the gentleman that lately stole his daughter. Two things proved, two things provided more, that for his favor he presently become a Christian. The other, that he do record a gift here in the court of all he dies possessed unto his son Lorenzo and his daughter. Okay, so when Portia asks Antonio what kind of mercy can be rendered to Shylock, this is what Antonio reply, or this is what he replies. Okay, so so please, my lord, and all the court to quit. Okay, so the duke and the court had asked him to quit. That means to here it means to remit the fine for one half of his goods. He says he's content. So Antonio is satisfied by that. So he will let me have the other half in use. So the other half Antonio can use it. Okay, and to render it upon his death unto the gentleman, and upon his death. So upon his death means upon the death of Shylock, unto the gentleman that lately stole his daughter. Who is that gentleman who lately stole his daughter? Okay, I hope you remember. It's Lorenzo. It's Lorenzo with whom Jessica has eloped with. So Antonio says that, so after the death of Shylock, this gentleman, that is Lorenzo, who has stolen Shylock's daughter, or with whom uh, Jessica has eloped, okay, two things provided more, and okay, two things that are, there are two conditions that he has to uh, do, okay, or the two conditions that sorry, Antonio suggests, okay, that is, he presently become a Christian, okay, so he should do two things, okay, in return for this favor. What are the two things that he has to do? He presently become a Christian. Oh, that is too much. Okay, so uh, um, Antonio tells that Shylock should become a Christian immediately. Okay, presently he should become a Christian, and then the other, that he do record a gift, and the the next condition is that he has to do a record a gift, do record a gift. That means he has to make a legal document, or he has to make up a will. Okay, Shylock has to make a will. What is the will? What should be the will? Here in the court, of all he dies possessed unto his son Lorenzo and his daughter. Okay, so that means when he dies, when Shylock dies, or he before his death, or now he has to make a will that when Shylock dies, all his wealth or whatever he possessed will be passed on to his son-in-law Lorenzo and his daughter Jessica. This is what Antonio requests the court. Okay, Duke. He shall do this, or else I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced here. So the Duke said that, or the Duke says, he shall do this, okay, or else I do recant. So if Shylock does not do this, what Antonio has told, okay, he says that, the Duke says that he's going to recant. That means he is going to cancel. Okay, he's going to cancel the pardon that he late pronounced. That means he had the pardon that he has granted to Shylock. Portia, art thou contented, Jew? What dost thou say? So Portia asked Shylock whether he is satisfied. Are you contented? Are you okay with this? Or are you satisfied, Jew? What does thou say? What's your opinion? What do you say? Shylock, I'm content. So Shylock replies that he is content. Portia, clerk, draw a deed of gift. So Portia turning to Nerissa. Okay, she turns to Nerissa and says, clerk, draw a deed of gift. And now, what is this deed of gift? Okay, so here the deed of gift refer to a legal document. Okay, so she tells Nerissa to make a legal document at that time itself. Shylock, I pray you, give me leave to go from hence. I am not well. Send the deed after me, and I will sign it. So this is a request of Shylock to Portia. So he says, I request you, I pray you, I request you, give me leave. Please let me go from here. Please allow me. So Shylock requests Portia to allow him to go from there. And then what is the reason he says? He says that he is not well. Okay. And send the deed after me. So he says that, or he tells that the deed should be sent after him so that he will sign it. Okay. He assures that he will sign the document. Duke, get thee gone, but do it. Okay. So the Duke gives him the permission. So he says, okay, you may go, but see that you sign it. Okay. Gratian, in christening, shalt thou have two godfathers? Had I been judge, thou shouldst have had 10 more to bring thee to the gallows, not the font. Okay. So Gratiano says that in christening, see, um, when there is a ceremony like christening, okay, giving name and then a baptism. So uh, the child will be brought to the baptismal font. Okay, here the font means the bowl which contains the holy water. Okay, so in you can find in this in Roman Catholic Church. Okay, uh, all churches do not follow the same kind of baptism. I mean, the Protestant churches, this according to the Roman Catholic Church, they have a bowl on a raised platform, and that contains the holy water. And okay, the child will be christened, and then the baptism is done. That is, the holy water is sprinkled on the baby. Okay, so this is how it is done. So when christening, the child have a godfather. And he says here, Gratiana says, okay, during the ceremony of christening, Shylock might have two godfathers. Had I been judge, so Gratiano says that if Gratiano had been the judge, he would have had 10 more, that means 12, to bring thee to the gallows. And for what? That is to sentence him to death. Okay, so he says if he were, okay, the judge, okay, if Gratiano were the judge, he would have had 10 more, and that means a group of a jury of 12. And for what? To sentence him, that is to sentence Shylock, that is to be hanged on the gallows instead of being baptized. This is what Gratiano tells. Exit Shylock. Duke, sir, I entreat you home with me to dinner. Now, Duke turns to Portia and tells, okay, the Duke rising from his chair and requesting Portia, sir, I entreat you home with me to dinner. Now, Duke requests Portia, or he invites Portia to his home to have dinner with him. Okay. Now, what is Portia's reply? Portia, I humbly do desire your grace of pardon. I must away this night toward Padua, and it is meet I presently set forth. Okay, so Portia humbly asks the Duke to excuse her because she says that she has to return to Padua that night itself. Okay, so I desire your grace of pardon. I must away this night toward Padua. So she tells the Duke that she has to return to Padua that night itself. Okay, and then and it is meet I presently set forth. So she tells him that it is so important that she has to set forth, she has to start her journey that night itself. Duke, I'm sorry that your leisure serves you not. Antonio, gratify this gentleman, for in my mind you are much bound to him. Okay? So Duke turns to Antonio. Okay. Now he says, I'm sorry that your leisure serves you not. So he says that he's sorry that Portia does not have time to accept his invitation. And he turns to Antonio and tells him, Antonio, gratify this gentleman. Antonio, see that this uh, gentleman, okay, should be gratified or satisfied. This gentleman, okay, who is this gentleman? That is Portia disguised as the lawyer. For in my mind, you are much bound to him. So the Duke knows that, okay, or everybody present in the court knows that it is just because of the intelligence and the skill of Portia that she could save Antonio from Shiloh. Okay, so that's why Duke tells, in my mind, for because in my mind you are much bound to him. Yeah, Antonio is uh, obliged to him. Okay, so he says he thinks that Antonio is much obliged to the lawyer. Exit Duke and his train. So Duke and his followers um, exit from the stage. Okay, so okay, children, we'll stop here and let me ask a few questions. Okay, uh, to see whether you have understood. Okay. Mm, he shall do this, or I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced here. Okay, so what is the pardon according to the Duke? Okay, so what is the pardon referred here? Can you tell? The pardon referred to here is the Duke's granting Shylock his life. Okay, so even before Shylock requested for mercy, the Duke has granted him, okay, the pardon, that is his life itself. The pardon is granted under the condition that half of his riches will now belong to Antonio. See, I am stating the condition also. Okay, the what are the two conditions? Okay, the condition that half of his riches will now belong to Antonio, and because he has plotted against Antonio, the other half would go to the state. But if he repents and humbly begs for mercy, the state might just impose a fine instead of taking the full amount. And now, see what are the two conditions did Antonio impose on Shylock? Okay, the two conditions Antonio imposed on Shylock are: first, what is that? He should draw up a will leaving half of his wealth to Lorenzo and Jessica after his death. And what is the second one? Second is that he should, Shylock should become a Christian immediately. Okay. So what would Gratiano, the last part, okay, what would Gratiano do if he were the judge? What comic effect does Gratiano's offer make in the context? Okay. So if Gratiano were the judge, he would have constituted a jury of 12 people who would sentence Shylock to death and will have him hanged on the gallows. Okay, by saying this, Gratiano creates some comic effects, okay, with those sharp-witted statements. So he says that instead of the baptismal font, he would have reached him to the gallows. Okay. Um, okay, children, I hope you understood. Read the textbook today itself so that you will be thorough of the passage. Okay. Okay, then we'll meet in the next class.